I want to welcome us to the fourth edition of the Prevent series of Farmers Hangout, which is scheduled to hold on the 27th and the 28th of June, 2025. You know, in this fourth series, we've engaged the topic, the theme of the the theme of the Farmers Hangout, which is primarily transforming agriculture, financing, better agronomic practices, and market access for food security. We have explored many aspects of this. We've brought individuals who are thought leaders in the agri-food system, and posing the topic to and fro, we have always come to one point, and that's the fact that the primary stakeholders, that this whole food security end goal that we have has three things. The system has three components that we must give clear attention, serious attention to, excuse me. We have the people, the program and products, and then we have the processes with which will lead to food security in agribusiness, in agri-food system. Now, to the question of, there are various products, of course, there are various produce that can be, produced that can be developed to ensure food security. And there are varied processes that will lead to that end goal of food security. And of course, there are people, the people part. So we've queried into the people part, most especially our discussion have been around the people part. Of course, processes, but then the people part, whatsoever we discuss, we realize that in the prevent series that we've had so far, we realize that the emphasis, when we go to and fro around the thought and the topic on the question of transforming agriculture, where should we start from if we really mean business? And where did other nations who can be considered as food secured, where did they start from? We realize that we have to come back to the question of the people. And then which people specifically? You know why I teach agriculture at secondary school level? There's this topic that always come up, which is the problems or the challenges of agricultural development in Nigeria and then Africa by extension. There's this problem that students are prone to quickly mention, and that's the issue of government as people. They always mention government as stakeholder, that it's what government failed to do, the inadequacy of this, the lack of this, the lack of that is why we're having a problem. Why agriculture is not developing. We mean to say why agriculture is not achieving food security in Nigeria. And but then the little time I had with teaching at that secondary school level of education, teaching agriculture especially, I've taken my time to try to correct that notion that that's not the way forward, because we cannot use the same thinking with which the problem was created to solve the problem. And government is not the only human component. Those who are in government, they are not the only human component in the agri-food system to ensure food security is not only about the government. So I realize that also this pre-event series, so far so good, have been true to point out to the people part of the agri-food system, right? And then to emphasize the people, the primary stakeholders. And then that happened to be those who constitute 80% of the people component of agri-food system. And that's the smallholder farms. Those who are in small, who are operators, yeah, smallholder farms operators. They constitute 80%, just the way we established from this pre-event discussion. And we have come to the point that if food security will be achieved in Nigeria, then this 80% should be able to, will be the ones to achieve it, will be the ones to achieve it. How? Their productivity have to increase. Their productivity have to increase. And that could imply more arable land opening or more of engaging efficient input, and as well as taking care of the post-harvest loss, which is also huge and has been quoted to be huge all the while in our food value chain. All right, so we mean to say, I mean to say that those who constitute 80% of the farming population are the primary key stakeholders in the people component part of the agri-food system. We discussed at length in the sense that the government has the role the government play is the role of policy making, and as well as executing the policy, which has to do with provision of infrastructure, and some other contribution that makes the environment support system rather, that makes the agribusiness environment conducive enough for smallholder farm operators to be able to perform excellently, better than what we have now. Yeah, we established that that's the role of the government. The business of government in agribusiness is the business of policy making, and then providing support system, infrastructure most especially, that will enable the smallholder farm operators to come about to increase their production. So that is the role of government. Government is not playing every part in the food system, agri-food system. No, government is not playing every role. That's basically, and then we've brought that out. And little can we do about that than to simply contribute whatever we can contribute in the policy making, because government will not act in isolation apart from the policy that which is the promises that they have for how they will come in to ensure food security. All right, so that said, we said there are other components of the people part of the agri-food system, and then the achieving the goal of food security. The embassy went on to the issue of investors, those who are most especially those who provide input, solutions that will enable farmers to do better. Private entities especially. We've talked about government, which is public entity. We are talking about private entities now, we know that a lot of people, individuals have solutions from precision farming solution down to credit facility provision to post-harvest handling, processing as a whole, I mean the whole value chain, down to enhancing better agronomic and husbandry practices. There are a lot of solution providers in all these aspects. We have touched a lot on that. And then as at last week, we mark something, and that's the fact that when all is said and done, the way the farmers are seen and treated is quite important. They may choose not to adopt, to accept, or to patronize the solutions that the private partners are bringing. They might choose not to patronize, and they might choose to patronize and then do not according to prescription. All boil down to how they are handled, because they are primary and key stakeholders in this food security and system, and they have their mind, they have their own mind, they have their life, they are family people, and they have ambition, they have career sense, they also have how they want their life to go. So they should not just be treated as some some individuals that are at the mercy of whatever is brought. No. We got to that point that the approach of introducing better agronomic practices to them, of even financing, going to them on financing, and then coming to them on the issue of marketing. All this should have different approach, should treat them as king. I mean to say their customers, their clients, the private entities that are solution providers, to ensure that there's an enabling environment for these smallholder farm operators to be able to have increase in productivity and profitability, that they should be treated as clients that they are. They should be treated as customers they are. And that definitely will change what that should be. We went on to the issue of private entities, private organizations that have something doing with agri-food system. What should be their approach? Now, that's it. Within this 3-part series, we had last week we had an investor met with one of the businesses in our agribusiness hub in one foundation, and the businesses presented their business case. There were interactions, and that went back and forth. And I am glad to say that as at today, yesterday, they have reached a level of consensus on what they want to do as investor to solution providers. All right. And it's gladdening our heart at One Foundation Agribusiness Hub that we are recording such kind of a progress. So today we'll be having individuals coming in. Our host, Mr. Stephen Kukuola of Agro Optimizers. I'm expecting three. I'm expecting Dr. George Aremu of Snow Green, the founder of Snow Green, who happened to be the investor that interacted with and then opted to provide real-time mentorship for the Waterbrooks technology solution that presented last week. Because of the way values agree. All right. So we'll be expecting him today again to be around with us. We'll be hosting two new persons, hopefully. We'll be expecting Mr. Israel Alabi. Mr. Israel Alabi is an agri-tech person. We'll be expecting Mr. Israel Alabi. We'll also be expecting Mr. Paul Fashoro, who happen to be in the marketing space, agribusiness space. So as each of these individuals come in, we'll be engaging them. They have about 10 minutes to give us their own perspective. They have about 10 minutes to give us their perspective. They have about 10 minutes, pardon me for repeating this. They have about 10 minutes to give us their perspective in the topic that we'll be considering. Okay. So, and this is 12 on the dot, and we have to start at 12. Okay. So as they come in, they will be taking their seat, virtual seat, and then we'll start in earnest. So just the way I was trying to narrate before I have to start to admit people into the room. I was talking about what are we going to be doing today. As we'll be emphasizing today on the key stakeholders. You know, the key stakeholders of agri-food system. We'll be talking, emphasizing on the smallholder farm operators. We have done a lot of our findings. We've interacted with stakeholders. We've talked to the thought leaders during the course of this pre-event series, and coupled with our own activity at our agribusiness hub as an organization, we have come to the point that for every business, just the way simple economics we were taught in simple economics, that there are 4 factors of production. And since agri-food system, food security we're talking about production. We're talking about processes. We're talking about value creation. All right. So there are 4 factors of production, and it applies to agriculture as well, since we are dealing with transforming agriculture, and then we are talking about it at from every dimension. So there are 4 factors of production. We have land, we have labor, we have capital, and then entrepreneurship. You can touch land as a tangible factor of production. You can touch labor, that's the individual, human beings, especially human beings, of course. Let me use the word farm power. Let's use the word farm power. What produces farm power? Okay. But most importantly, human beings that are not the owners of the farm. They are the ones regarded as labor. So we have land, we have labor, then capital. Capital in this sense is not just about cash, it's not just about money. It's about non-cash too. It's about inputs. It's about things like machine, the tools that are used on the farm, not just money, but what money can buy too. Okay, so those three factors of production, you can touch them. They are tangible. Many of them are tangible, except around the capital, which is intangible, is around the intellectual property. Okay, but then our farmers, I mean, have not yet reached that level, especially the smallholder farm operators. They've not yet reached that level of having capital that is intellectual property. That's the intangible part. The issue of expertise like being a professional, something that is recognized to be able to provide a categorized service that has not yet come to the record of our smallholder farm operators. And those are part of the values that have been unpacked and are not well emphasized. So, I mean, well harnessed rather, and why we have smallholder farm operators that are judged poor. Every in and out, every year, they need external input. They need uh, external input in terms of capital, especially because there's an intangible capital that is failed to develop. Okay, so I will clarify the issue of the land. Land is where we get the soil as a medium to grow the crops and then to rear the animals and to also do the processing and marketing. Virtually all these things are associated with the land. The labor, I've explained it the other time. The difference between labor and management of any smallholder farm, the difference between labor and management, which is also regarded as entrepreneurship. I mean, entrepreneur. The difference is ownership mentality. If any labor get to any farm, smallholder farm, and then though employed, not the owner of the farm, but then develop to become, I mean, to have ownership mentality, that labor will transit almost automatically from being regarded as labor just for salary sake. It will become a valuable input on the farm. I mean, valuable factor on the farm, and then will be treated at the realm of management. That's how labor can transit to um, management. Just as I always tell my students, I am welcoming everybody powerfully. I'm treating the thought process before we come in. Mr. Stephen, welcome powerfully, sir. Fresh Farm, welcome powerfully. One Foundation representatives, welcome powerfully. And then we also have to regard the meeting note taker. Yeah, welcome powerfully. All right, so I'm trying to talk about the factors of production, and then that would lead us to our topic for today. That the capital angle, which I'm talking about, the intangible capital, that labor can transit to become a management, most especially when the labor, let me use the word, the laborer, the employee has ownership mentality. And by having ownership mentality, the kind of value the employee will bring into the table will automatically force that, force the management to want to bring the employee closer and want to absorb such an employee into the management cadre because he or she has started showing entrepreneurship capacity. And that kind of laborer cannot stay at be regarded as laborer. That's the norm. Okay, and then last but not the least is the entrepreneurship as a factor of production. Our farmers have access to capital no matter how little it is. And whenever you ask any farmer, what's your problem? You simply see that tendencies that they mention capital, they mention money, they mention seed, quality seed, they mention need for tractor, they mention need for probably water and irrigation facility to ensure that there's increase in productivity. Hardly will you hear a farmer tell you that I need to be taught how to practice a kind of agronomic practice or husbandry practices that will increase my productivity. They feel that they have what it takes to ensure that they achieve what they want to achieve. That's typical smallholder farm operator for you. Whereas there's level of knowledge and expertise that ensure efficiency in this practice without necessarily increasing farmland size. Okay, so now to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is intangible. Is intangible. In fact, is a mindset. You know, I said earlier that it has to do with ownership mentality and showing capacity and a level of capital that is not money, that is around intellectual property, that is around skills, that is around expertise. So that is entrepreneurship, okay? Ability to create value. When something is common, it becomes common. I mean, it is regarded common, and nobody really want to put common ahead of any common. It's common. But when something is unique, somebody will want to choose to place it above what is common. All right. So entrepreneurs demonstrate entrepreneurship and do the same thing. Give an entrepreneur the same size of land compared to another farm operator, smallholder farm operator who is not entrepreneurial, but still operate at that level of labor, just work, without being strategic, without being entrepreneurial. What you realize is that the productivity of an entrepreneurial mindset farm operator, smallholder farm operator, will be higher, even with less effort. How they engage the financing, how they attract fund. They say fund go towards value. How they engage better husbandry or agronomic practices, and how they engage the market. Everything is different. They make a difference in their own case and in their own approach. So today, since we have Mr. Stephen Popola already in, and then we are expecting other other individual thought leaders to also come in to contribute their perspective. We'll be taking Mr. Stephen's perspective on the topic we are considering today, which is the issue of enterprising smallholder farm operators. How do we go about it? Like we in one foundation at our agribusiness hub, we know that a lot of individuals will be working in, and we have this promise, this value proposition that when a farmer walk into our hub with the idea that I've been farming for the umpteenth time before some of you are even born, some of us are even born, We'll welcome that farmer and then sit down. Do you want to farm differently? Yes. So in 90 days, we hope to walk that farmer through entrepreneurial mindset process that will transform that very smallholder farm operator to an entrepreneur, to an enterprising person who in turn will do things differently to achieve high increasing productivity and profitability. So, Mr. Stephen, we want to hear your perspective about how you think such smallholder farm operators can be developed to become entrepreneurs, to be entrepreneurial and to practice entrepreneurship in a farming business, in a agri-food system. But our emphasis right now is on those who are at production level, farmers. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen. You have the floor now, please. And we'll be expecting you to speak for the next 10 minutes. Go ahead, sir. I'll be spotlighting you soon. You can unmute, sir. Why?
Good day, everyone. Prince, well done. All right. Once again, good day, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed farmers, agribusiness partners, and our honored guests. Also, our partners on Farmers Hangout 1.0, One Foundation, Bovas Aventura, Syria Alpha Resource, Credit Access, Credit Assist, Jubilee, Seedco, and Afri Agri, and every other partners that are still on board, which I have not actually mentioned right now, and some of them still coming on board, even as we are getting close to the main day of the program. I greet you all. Now, looking at the topic before us today in our pre-farmers hangout discussion, I will not want to actually go in points, but I will want to speak directly to our smallhold farmers. Like, I want to take them from the raw aspects. I want to take them from the raw aspect, so I don't want to break in the middle. So permit me to do that today. So I'm delighted to welcome you all once again to this edition of Pre-Farmers Hangout Show, a space where passion for agriculture meets purpose, innovation, and action. Today, we are looking at a part from the main theme of the Farmers Hangout, which says transforming agriculture, financing better agronomic practices, and market access for food security. And these three pillars, which we are looking at, that is the financing, better agronomic practice, BAP, and market access for food market access, which we are looking at, are very essential. But none of them can actually function at their best without the most important foundation. That is, despite the fact that these three pillars are very powerful, none of them can actually perform at their best without a foundation. And this foundation is what we are looking at today, which is the mindset of the farmer. The mindset of the farmer. And that is why in this show today, we are focusing on the making of enterprising smallholder farmers. That is, developing an entrepreneurial mindset. I came in to meet our Prince, David Adeoye, on that note, that he's trying to tell us what is meant by entrepreneurship, what entrepreneurship means, and what it actually means, not the general definition we see here and there. Now, I want us to look into this. Now, the farmer is an entrepreneur. That is one thing I want us to note. My first point given to you today to note is that the farmer is an entrepreneur. Gone are the days when a farmer was simply someone who we wait for rain to fall and harvested whatsoever the land gives and hope for good prices in the market. But today, smallholder farmers must be enterprising. That is, they must think like a business person. Farmers must think like a business person, planning like a strategist, and act like a change maker. Farmers these days must think like a business person and must plan like a strategist and must act like a change maker, not a change what will I say now, not somebody that is just expecting change. Must be a change maker, that is, must be an action man, must be in the arts. There is this popular saying that no one can act better than what they know, and no one can actually act better than the state of their mind. And that is why we are looking at mindset. So when we speak about transforming agriculture, we are not just talking about maybe things involved in agriculture. We are talking about the people in agriculture, which the farmers happens to be one of the major stakeholders in agriculture. So we are looking at the mindset of the farmer. Farmer needs to start seeing themselves, one, as a business person. Now, let us talk about financing, because it is when farmers start thinking about themselves as or seeing themselves as a business person, they will be able to leverage on all this opportunity for food security. And never forget, in the previous edition of this show, I said every farmer first goes to the farm to earn a living or to make money. Let me make it simple. Everyone who must go to the farm or who is going to farm first go to make. Is there something happening? I can hear a background noise. Someone is trying to call my attention, or I can proceed. Okay, in the absence of a response, I proceed. Now, farmers have to think of themselves as a business person, and that is when they will be able to leverage on the opportunities available for them, and that is when they will be able to even achieve their major goal, their first goal, which is to make money. Before we now talk about food security, everyone that goes into a business actually go into a business to make profit first before thinking about, okay, the economic welfare or the development of the environment. So now let's talk about I've actually given you the point that a farmer must see himself as a business person. Now let us go. How a farmer who sees himself as a business person, or farmers seeing themselves as business persons or business people, could actually leverage on the opportunities or those things we are looking at this edition of Farmers Hangouts. Let's talk about finance. You know, we mentioned the three pillars, which is finance, financing, better agronomic practices, and market access. Now let's go to the finance. Now, access to finance remains a huge barrier for most smallholder farmers. But here is the truth. Banks or financial institution or anybody that has the capacity to give out fund don't just fund business, or we not just fund farmers, they fund business. So until when a farmer is able to present his farming or his farm activities or his occupation, or even if you call farming your lifestyle, you are able to present it to those that are in charge of funds as a business and make them see it as a business, you will never have the opportunity to access the fund with them, because banks, financial institutions, or investors will not just fund farmer, they fund business. So first, you must be able to present your farm to them, your farming to them, your whatsoever you want to do to them as a business. And that is why you have to start thinking like a business person. Now, to attract capital, I have some few points. I've actually pulled down together for you. We must think and act like entrepreneurs. Yeah. One, we must keep good records. I have limited time, so I won't be treating each one of them, but I will actually give it to you in the simplest form I can. One, a farmer must be keeping good record. Keep good records. Understand your cost and profit margin. Build trust and credit worthiness over time. Then explore cooperatives and crowdfunding as alternative finance channel. You must seek for the fund. You don't just sit and be expecting the fund to come to you. You don't just sit and expecting finance to come to you. You must go for it. But when you are going for it, you must be able to go for it with good records and understanding of what your cost and profit margin is. And you must be able to tell your story in such a way that it will earn the trust, or it will create trust in the mind of those that have access to these funds which you need. A bankable farmer is not one with the largest land, but the clearest business plan. You need a business plan as a farmer. Now I go to the second pillar, which is better agronomic practice. Mindset over method. Mindset over method. At Agro Optimizer, we don't just, by the time, whenever we recommend a practice, because we may actually have about 2 to 3 practices that can solve a particular problem, but we recommend which to take based on what is on ground, not just based on the method, not just because we want to showcase, not just because we want to show off. If your condition does not go, or the situation around your farming is not does not match economically does not match the use of drone, we don't recommend the use of drone to you. So mindset over method. Now, yes, we must teach better practices, and that is one of those things we are doing at Agro Optimizer. How to plant, what to plant, when to apply inputs, how to manage soils and pests. That is those things that reduce your productivity. Before that, we must change how we think about farming. An entrepreneurial mindset drives innovation. It asks, what can I do differently this season? I achieved 5 tons last season. What can I do to actually go better this season? Not, oh, this is the way it has always been since the days of our father. This is what we have always been achieving. This is how we have always been going about it, even before you coming to give me solution were born. No. An entrepreneurial mindset, we drive, we always ask, or an entrepreneur minded person, we always ask, what can I do differently this season? How can I reduce waste and increase yield? Talking about precision farming, what technology can I adopt to make my work easier and more effective? Just like this morning, a farmer contacted me and was like, Agro Optimizer, I don't really have enough labor. Most of all these guys I get to help me on the farm are all going, some of them even running away with my stuffs and the likes, and I don't even have so much to actually accommodate them this year. What can I do? Then we introduce, because the person is actually into oil palm oil palm farming. We actually introduce oil palm, that is our palm harvester, to him, which he doesn't really need so many people. He doesn't even really need anybody to climb the tree to harvest his palm tree. From under the tree, they stand on the ground and extend the harvester up, and they harvest. They go around, they even prune their tree. Very easy. And looking at the cost, it's even not up to what he will use to get a labor for a whole year on his plantation. Look at that. Now, knowledge is only powerful when applied, and a mindset open to learning is a feed always ready for rain. Let me just quickly go to the last pillar now, because of my time, which is talking about market access, thinking beyond farm gates. Our farmers need to start thinking beyond farm gates. You farmers, we farmers need to start thinking beyond farm gates. Too often, smallholder farmers focus only on production, but without a ready market, even the best harvest can become a loss. The entrepreneurial farmer asks, who needs my products and in what form? Should I sell fresh, dry, processed, or packaged? This decision will be driven by data. How can I brand and differentiate myself in the market? Market access is not just about the roads, like we have good road to the market. No, not only about that. It's about relationship. That is you getting to know who your customers are, who your buyers are, and getting to know how to get them, or getting to know in what form they need your product. So we don't have people ripping you off, because that is where the money is. Your whole labor, that is where the pay is. That is where the reward for your whole labor on the field is. So don't just handle it with negligence. Handle it with utmost priority. If you have somebody that is helping you handle the market, yeah, put your eye on that person too. You don't just release everything like that and just whatever they say. You have to, market access is not just about roads, it's about relationships, research, and readiness to meet market standards. Market standards. Now, food security. All these are for food security. But we are very sure when you do all this, your profit comes out. But now, to food security, it begins with farmers' security. When smallholder farmers are empowered with the right mindset, access to finance, modern practice, and market intelligence, food security becomes more than a goal. It becomes a guarantee. Transforming agriculture is not about just changing techniques. It's about changing how farmers, we farmers, see ourselves. You are not just feeding your family. You are feeding a nation. You are not just a smallholder. You are a stakeholder in national development. You are not just working the land. You are building the economy. So I conclude with this. Let this farmers hangout spark a movement of enterprising farmers, those who see challenges as opportunities, who embrace knowledge, who plan with precision, and who connect beyond their communities. Let us rise with the mindset of innovation over imitation, strategy over survival, enterprise over endurance. The future of agriculture in Nigeria is not in Abuja policies or Lagos market alone. It is right here in our own communities, in the minds and hands of enterprising farmers like you and me. So, thank you for listening today. Thank you for being part of this show.
Somebody should please clap. Clap for my man.
God bless you all. And I wish to actually see you all live at Farmers from 27,
yes,
28 at Jupiter Delight. Yes, we can do better.
My guy is on fire. Thank you so much, Sir Steve. Thank you so much. Agro Optimizer, we are very, very grateful for that. Very, if you don't mind, please mute your mic so that microphone so that there will not be interference from your background. Thank you, Mr. Steven. We just had Mr. Steven, and then let me say that Sir George Aremu, our big bro that came in last week, and then that listened to Waterbrook's technology solution, is here today again and in already. So we'd like to take his perspective in the next 1 minute, but I just want to do a kind of a level of reflection on what Mr. Stephen has raised. Mr. Stephen raised the fact that if agriculture will be transformed at all, it's not, first of all, about what is going on in Abuja as much as what is going on in our various lungu, in our corner, at small order, with a small order farm operators. Excuse me, please. It will be more of what is going on with our small order. Pardon me. I'm sorry. I need to power boot my router. Okay, so we saw that brilliant presentation from Mr. Steven, and I've done some posting. I've posted some things from what he's saying on the YouTube live chat. For those who are following on YouTube live chat, I've tried to help you do so. So let's please welcome Mr. George Aremu. Pardon me, sir. Dr. George Aremu.
Thank
I
you
can't
very much.
forget it. Pardon me, sir.
It's
Dr.
fine.
George Aremu. Yes, sir. So, it doesn't sound like it because you are not an academia, you're distant, but then you are now, sir. Thank you for
Yeah,
putting in a lot. Thank you so much for putting in a lot. We are on the nailing it on the head, right? We are on this issue of the key stakeholders of food security, who are our smallholder farmers, and the need for them to develop entrepreneurial mindsets. So we want to hear your perspective on how do we, as individuals that are involved in ensuring this change, ensuring that our farmers are who they ought to be, right? So how do we involve ourselves? How do we ensure the making of an enterprising smallholder farmer, ensuring that they have an entrepreneurial mindset? Because we believe that that's the key to food security. So how do we go about it? I want to hear your perspective in the next 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
thank you very much, David. And thanks everyone for having me once again. He has to pull me out of the tight schedule and said, I must say one or two things on this. Apparently, I'm also a chartered accountant. I'm a FCA and I'm a farmer as well. So how do we build an entrepreneurial mindset in agri? It's not far-fetched from the normal business, normal enterprises that we do. But I think there are some salient things that we need to consider. I will speak from my experience, and I think agri is not get rich quicks enterprise. So, I would look at the factors that make people to run away from it. So people go there because number one, no passion. Number two, they just see it. When you plant maize on the farm, when you do spreadsheet analysis of the agric business, it's always the sweetest. You will look at it that when you plant maize, and then out of one seed, about 5 or cups will come out. Then you harvest it, you multiply it by price in the market. Boom, you see the revenue, you see all those things. It's always fine. The business plan on the paper is always the sweetest, but it's far from the reality. Reality on the ground and the farm, it's different, totally different from what you have on the paper. So you need to prepare your mind. It is, if you're looking for a get rich quick adventure, I won't suggest agric because it takes time, it takes patience. I remember a prof of agric in Ife when I first started my farm. I started with about 1 acre. The man said, "Young man, what you are venturing into, I started 11 years ago." But he said it in Yoruba. He said, "Okoma le nisa." But if you don't run away, meaning that it will chase you away. If you don't run away and you stay, you will enjoy it. 10 years after, I totally agree with that statement because there are some challenges you will face on the farm. There are some different things, the workers, the laborers, the environment, the security issues, the theft, uh, diseases, so many things happen. Even your staff and they are potential thief that will even eat part of your harvest. So, but if you're not, doesn't have a strong mind, will, you might run away. But all that are lessons that you need to inculcate into your plan and continue to grow. Then the second point is that you need to know where you want to play. You don't jump two ways today. You jump in one way, this way, you jump into ginger today. This one, you jump into this one. The other one, you jump into that one. Be strategic. If you want to go by the annual crop farmers you want to be, and which one. If you want to go by, there are various aspects of it. If you want to go by plantation, know the one you want to go and focus and be determined and go with it. Then another point is that know your unit of economics. Don't shy away from knowing your unit of economics. What we call unit of economics is you know your cost, you know the margin that it will sell. So you know your calculation, your 1 acre of cassava, one stem that needs to be average this that needs to put on it, expenses and all that. Know it. There's no shame if you do it and you make a loss in the first year. But that goes back into your planning in the second year because you'll be able to see clearly that look, this is not helping. You need to do this. When I planted the palm trees, I used to give the seedling to some local women to just harvest and then give me the oil. So I sat down and I look, I need to invest more in the machinery. So I bought the machine, the digester, the steamers and all that. Yeah, it cost money at initially. But this year I could say that we've almost recoup almost even not 70 or 80% of the cost of the machinery. So those are the things that you need to go into. And if you, and I would say this, as you need to know your accounting record. Accounting record as an entrepreneur, you have to know what you are doing. You have to be a number person, income statement and balance sheet. If you are not growing by profit, ensure you are growing by assets. And I will explain that. If you let's say you have a land, you have option of leasing and you have option of buying the land. My preference has always been buy the land. So that even when you are harvesting, you are doing your production the fourth year, you are not making the money. But land appreciates by inflation. So your balance sheet, your land goes into the balance sheet of your farm, and that is increasing. So you have to have that mindset. So by the time anyone is doing the valuation of your farm, you are not growing in terms of profit, but in terms of asset, you are growing. So the value increase. Definitely, these are and you need to have you also need to be innovative. Innovation is very, very important in terms of making the agri to be an entrepreneur. So you have to be innovative. trust your gut, put your data together, do the analysis. I wish I'm 100% fully on the ground. I read, I research more. I will tell my farm manager, I said, look, you know what? Let's try this. Let's go by way of this one. Let's put this together. So you have to be involved. You have to, it's your business. You have to take it very, very serious and learn to shut down and learn to reactivate. When I say learn to shut down and learn to reactivate is when you look at harms of the business you are doing and you find out that, oh, this one is bleeding too much, there's no shame in shutting that one down and reinvest that money in the other one that you need to nurse. And lastly, I would say to make agri, to have an entrepreneurial mindset in agri, integrate. There's no waste in your try and integrate your process. So if you're planting corn, you're planting maize, try and integrate something else into it that the output of this one becomes an input of the other one, and then you have the value at the end. The reason for that is when there's a shock in the price in the market, you are not compelled to sell at loss. You can easily store it and it becomes an inventory and it becomes an input into your other arms of the business that you are doing on your own farm. So that is my home view. I believe, and then there's any specific area, David, you want me to run to. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you, sir. And we really, I have penned down the points you raised point by point on the on our YouTube live chat. People are following this and have narrated it. Thank you so much for your time. Permit me to introduce to you Olansile Olariwaju. Is one of the individuals that we went to your farm together, sir. So when you talk about the fact that you're a farmer, there's a witness in the room already.
Thank you.
As a person that we went to, yes, late last year when the boys were clearing the big oil palm, we were there together, myself and him, to check on them. Advantage, this is Dr. George Aremu, whose farm we went to visit together at around
Yeah,
okay.
let me say it here. I know David is being conservative. Without David, I always say it. He's actually the genesis of the of this farm. He's the one that first of all put the first palm seedling down on that farm. Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate it. Anytime I see that farm, I always say yes. And you and Bukola, thank you. And the other students then in agric department that work on that farm, wonderful things. And it's a good thing that
yes,
we see where it is today and we'll see where it's still going to go and expand more in the future. Thank you very much, David. Yeah.
yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much, Ego. Thank you so much for that mention and acknowledgement. So permit me to also introduce, before you go, to introduce to you two other individuals. We have Israel Alabi here. I think Israel was in the room. Israel, are you in? He's an agri-tech person. And soon enough, by God's grace, I'll be linking you up with these two individuals that I've said. The third person is Mr. Stephen Kukola, who is the organizer and the host of a Farmers Hangout that we are partnering with from our own organization as a One Foundation. Mr. Stephen Kukola is also in here, sir. Just the way you always say that once I see young people who know what they are doing, I should let you know. Taking this opportunity to introduce these individuals to you again. And we'll be doing that continuously behind the scene. I would like us to release Dr. George Aremu because
Okay.
of some other schedule. Sir,
Okay.
we gladly release you. We'll be calling again when next, God willing. Thank you so much for coming around, sir. Um, without much ado, we have in the building, we have a fresh farm. That's one of the students from Lautech, a student-led business from Lautech Ishayin campus. Okay, so I guess you heard what we did while we were students, that we still have the relationship going on even now, and that's 13 years after. We did that while we were undergraduate from University of Ibadan. We went to let me use the word test the ground adventure. Let me say it's adventure, and he take his money, put it down that I should try. So I led the team. Deduct 13 years from my age. So I led the team, and then we went to, most of my colleagues are outside the country now, who we were there together to establish that oil palm, and then the rest we were consulted from time to time. We are glad, and as fate to have it, we are still together, and we are planning a lot of things that will be executed. And then, of course, many of us will be called on who are on this call to come and take one or the other role that we need to take, because that farm started on trust, and on trust will continue, God willing. So we had Mr. Olanshile Olanrewaju, aka Advantage of Ibadan, almost at the same time when Mr. Israel Alabi also came in, and we are taking each person's perspective. Should we toast? Who should go first? You have 10 minutes to submit your perspective on the issue of making of an entrepreneurial smallholder farmer. How do we ensure that they practice entrepreneurship?
Let my Oga go first. Let my Oga go
Okay.
first, then I'll go after him.
All right. Actually, has deferred to Israel. Sir Israel Alabi, Mr. Olanshile Olanrewaju said you should go first. Please, let's hear your perspective for the next 10 minutes. Thank you for being around.
All right, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Loud and clear. We can hear you. Loud and clear.
I really appreciate that. All right. So, to share one or two things about how we can develop our mindset as smallholder farmers. I want to appreciate One Foundation and Mr. David. Thank you very, very much. So without wasting our time, I'll be talking from the perspective of data and technology. Right. So when we are talking about smallholder farmers, you know, especially young persons or maybe older persons too, they feel like you need to be a very rich farmer or a very rich person before you can adopt data and technology on your farm, no matter how small it is. So I'm here to dispel that notion this afternoon. You don't need to be very wealthy before you can prioritize data collection, data gathering, data analysis for your farm business. And you don't need to be very rich or well connected or sophisticated to adopt technology on your farm. Because truth be told, data is life. Data is very, very important. And as farmers, as smallholder farmers, it is even very, very important that you can use data, that you can pay attention to data, you can leverage technology to boost whatever you are doing. Because you already have, maybe you have limited resources as a smallholder farmer. Your resources are limited, maybe your capital is even limited, your land is limited, your farm power or your human resources on the farm is also limited. So, and you want leverage. That is what data and technology can give to you, leverage. So, if you are thinking about leverage, how can you do more with the little resources you have? Data is the way to go. If you want to produce more, if you want to get more results, better results than what you are currently getting, even no matter how limited your resources are, then you really need to think about data and technology. It is supremely important. So when we talk about data and technology, what exactly are we referring to? Right. Data refers to specific information that we gather from whatever we are doing. So if you look at your farmland, whether you are doing crop farming, livestock farming, there are many data. For instance, now the soil you are planting your crops, the soil. Do you know about the soil nutrients? Do you know about the soil water? Do you know what kind of crops can survive, will do very well on that crop? You realize that a lot of farmers, and that's where failure starts from. You don't even know what the composition of the soil they are using is. They don't care. They just feel like, oh, we've been planting maize on this farm for the past 5 years. Let's continue to plant maize here. Or we will do crop rotation. So we plant maize, then we go to cowpea, then we plant maize, then we go to melon. So that is the cycle. They don't know the amount of nutrient that is still remaining in the soil. And if you don't even have as simple as soil data, how are you going to make better decisions? How will you know that this is the exact crop to plant that will thrive? Because when you have small resources, it is not just about I want to plant now. You want to ensure that you can get maximum yield from that small land and make better profit from that small land. So having that knowledge of your soil parameters, you know how much nutrient is in the soil, maybe you know how much nitrogen or phosphorus or something that is in the soil, or you know how much of water is in the soil. This is a very dry soil. You have all this information. All right, that will help you to make better decisions. So instead of you saying that, okay, because we've always planted melon, this year let us change it because this soil is deficient in this kind of crop. And then you can also look at, okay, what kind of nutrients can we add to the soil? So it affects your economics as a farmer, it affects your production as a farmer, it affects a lot of things as a farmer, something like that. Then if you look at livestock production too, for instance, you are rearing chickens. Some persons do take basic data like, okay, we brought them in on this date. This was the day we brought them into the pen or into the house. We brought them this date. We brought 50 chickens, and that is all. But I can go a step further, right? How often are you feeding them? So maybe you feed them by 8 a.m. every day. So by what time do they deplete the feed? So maybe after about 2 3 hours or so, they finish the feed. So you can calculate how fast they are eating their feed. And on the days where it is taking them longer to finish it, you can start, hope these chickens, hope they are fine, hope something is not wrong with them, because you are beginning to observe data. So data is very, very important. And data and technology, they always go hand in hand because technology helps you to leverage data. So, for instance, we talk about the soil health now. So, what do you need to measure that all these soil parameters? You have your soil testing kit, very, very important. You can use that to improve what you are doing as a farmer, right? Another tool that all of us, we have this tool, but we have not really been paying attention to it, right? Is our smartphone. With your smartphone, you can be a smart farmer. Right? Your smartphone really makes you a smart farmer. But some persons, they're not using their smartphone very well. They're not maximizing their smartphones. They just use the phone to do WhatsApp and that's all. But with your smartphone, you can do a whole lot, right? From taking pictures, documenting what you are doing. Oh, we planted crops today. You have pictures of them. As the crops are growing, you have pictures of them. So you can even document these things publicly because people can now see. Because nowadays, people need to trust you before they can buy from you. So if you are documenting what you are doing, maybe online, maybe on a blog, on a website, on your social media page, people can follow you. And when it's time to sell what you are doing, it will be very easy because people saw you the day you planted, they saw you as they sprouted, they germinated, they saw you as they went through week one, week two, they saw you as it started to grow. So it's easier to sell. And that way it won't be until you've harvested before you're looking for buyers. Buyers will already be knocking at your door because they've been through the whole process. Same thing for whatever livestock you are rearing. It is very important. Your phone, your camera is very important. Then your notes too. A lot of persons don't take important notes or important records because they feel like, oh, we are using books, it's very far away, and other things like that. Even on your phone, we have different apps. We have notes apps, we have clipboard, we have Google Keep that can help you to take notes on the go. So you don't need to get to your house before you start taking notes. Even from your phone, as this thing is happening, you can take record, speedy record, without getting anywhere or without waiting till night when you get home and then you do the calculation. Even for calculations now, right? We now have, we have spreadsheets on our phones, calculator is there, and with spreadsheets, you're able to customize the spreadsheet very well. It can be analyzing your data for you as you are recording it. Oh, we have sold this amount of whatever we are selling of item. This is how much we sold it. So it can start calculating this is your profit per stock or profit per batch or profit per season for you from your phone. So we need to start thinking about technology. There are different ways, even from sales, marketing, right? And I even see people to do that. Once they experience any challenge on their farm, maybe their chickens are not eating, or they are drooling, or they are displaying some kind of symptoms, they'll just take the picture and then they can send it to maybe a veterinary person or an animal scientist or even an agricultural community on any platform, right? For them to see that, oh, please come to my rescue. What should I do? And that sense of community always helps farmers. So as you are either beginning your farm or you've been on like practicing farming for some time, it's time for you to start adding technology to it. So start asking yourself, where can I add data? Where and where can I extract data from that I can use to improve what I'm doing, that I can use to optimize my operations? Because if you want to increase your profits, you must even know your unit economics to begin with. You must know, okay, I brought this in, I used this, I added this to this, and at the end, I got this profit. So when you hear about agri-tech, it is not just about the drones or the big sensors or the robots. Yes, those ones are very good. But even before you get to that level, there are some that you can use at your own level that you are now. Another very important aspect of data and technology is surveillance. Right? Nowadays it is very difficult for people to practice farming because you'll be like, if I'm not on the farm, I can't trust my workers, I can't trust people on the farm because people will always be people. They want to steal, they want to kill, they want to do many things. There's even a story of a farmer that anytime chickens die on his farm, he used to give his workers. Then he realized that chickens were dying every time. Until somebody told him that, see, stop giving these people chickens once they die. And the chickens stopped dying because they were killing them. That is where cameras come into play. And cameras now, they are not as expensive as they used to be. You just connect your cameras to your phone. And then anywhere you are, you can monitor your farm remotely. So all these are very, very important, right? When it comes to practicing agriculture, you don't have to be very rich, very educated, or sophisticated to adopt data and technology on your farm. So I think that is the angle that I would like to come in. Thank you very much for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Israel Alabi. Thank you. An agri-tech will always be an agri-tech. You just came in from that angle of from known to unknown, and it's quite fantastic. I wrote I capture it on the YouTube comment section that to collect data is actually entrepreneurial. It's entrepreneurship to collect data from your farm activities, as long as there is activity on the farm, which is regarded as processes to achieve productivity. Definitely, there's data to collect so that you'll be able to take decision, improve decision this time around. So by next time, there's this adage that says that it's only a fool that does same thing, same way, and then expect a different result. If you want your productivity to increase, which is the end goal of entrepreneurship, if you want your productivity to increase, your profitability to increase, then you should do something differently. And you can't do it differently, just the way Mr. Israel put it for us. You can't do it differently if you don't collect data. You can't take decision different from what you know, and you don't know until you collect data and you study the pattern and then all that other view. Thank you so much, Mr. Israel. Without much ado, I think we have to welcome Mr. Olanshile Olanrewaju to give us his perspective about the subject at hand, the topic we are treating. How do we make smallholder farmers entrepreneurial? How do they move to that entrepreneurship to become a factor of production, that entrepreneurship factor of production, to contribute that into factor of production, and then we'll be able to have high productivity and profit. Olashile, please.
All right, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here. Olanraju Olanshile is my name. Most people call me Advantage. I work with Cassava Vast. Let me put it that way. I work with Cassava Vast. Cassava Vast is an agro innovation brand that is trying to work in cassava value chain through sustainable processing, product innovation, and adding technology, just like what our last speaker has just said. We are trying to build an ecosystem that connects smallholder farmers, processors, distributors, retailers, and ensuring that we have a high quality cassava products from farm to shelf. We just launched our pilot product about, let me say, a few months ago. The product name is Gary Max, and it's actually been amazing. It has been an amazing journey. It has been an something worth doing. Let me put it that way. It's actually been something worth doing. So the the very first speaker that addressed us, when he was talking, it is more or less like everything is actually directed to me, like more or less like telling my story. He mentioned something earlier that when he met a prof and that person said, "Oh, Okoma Liesa," so which actually simply means that when you are getting to start this thing, you will need to run away. And yes, definitely I ran away. That was my own story. I ran away. I finished from the University of Ibadan. I studied agricultural biochemistry and nutrition. And even ever since then, I've been a lover of agriculture. Before I even got my admission to university, I've been a lover of agriculture. I studied national diploma in agricultural technology in more plantation. So it has always been like, okay, I really want to do this thing. But it's not always like a smooth journey, most especially in this part of the world. So after graduation, there are actually a whole lot of things that was coming around. What did I need to do? How do I need to get started and all? So I started with a different enterprise. But at the long run, because I have that entrepreneurship spirit, like, okay, I really want to do this thing. So I started officially in 2022, and I started with cassava. I could remember I did about was that no? I think about 5 acres of cassava. Together with some of my friends, I need to come up with a proposal, trying to convince them that okay, we really need to do this and that. And I will not lie to you. After it's not even up to a year, after like 6 months, Yoruba used to say something that "Bó ṣe lọ ló ṣe bọ̀." The way I went to that farm is the way I came back after a whole lot of investments. Actually a long story. We talked about security, talked about the workers. Everybody actually makes everything up, and that was actually like the beginning of telling myself that okay, I really need to go back and sit down and get this thing right. And there is one fundamental question I used to ask myself, and I do ask every other individual that have anything to any interest to have any they have any interest in agriculture. So the fundamental question is, let's look at this thing. Do people eat every day? Like, what is that one thing that people cannot do like almost every day? We talked about food. Like, food is like number one essential thing for everybody to function well. You have to eat. Like, that is primary. So, and how do people get this thing? Do they get it for free? No, they buy it. They buy it. So, if they buy, how does it happen? Some people produce, then some people buy. Okay, so that is telling me that okay, I have something I can say if I start doing today, I already have like that, like, let me say ready-made market. So if I decided today that okay, I want to start selling cars, I can look into my contact and I feel like out of 500 people that I have on my contact list, can I guarantee that I have up to like 20 people that can afford a car at this time? Say, let's say an average car is about 2 million naira now. Like, can I have an average person that can say I'll be able to afford this? But I can ask myself categorically that 500 of my contacts will eat every day. Like, I can be rest assured of that. So that is telling us that okay, I'm actually in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. So the only thing for me to just like strategize to get these things really done well. Like I need to learn, I need to focus, like I need to do a whole lot of things. Now, which actually brought me back to after 2022, 2023. Okay, I felt like okay, if I will not be able to go back to the farm at this moment because of some other things I'm engaging in, I won't be able to go back to the farm. At least some people are, because at the end of the day, my mission is to convert to process the cassava to other products like curry, like cassava flakes and all. That's my end goal. So if I'm not getting the planting right at this moment, okay, so what exactly, how did I feel I can play in this value chain? So some people are already in this industry, they are planting cassava, they are growing it. Okay, what if I come in to buy from them and I don't have any machine, I don't have anything that I can use to process carry. And I know there are some established individuals too, they're already in the in the aspect of processing the cassava to carry. Okay, what if I meet with these two individuals? I try to like buy cassava, take it to the other people to process the cassava into gari. Though there is a standard I'm looking towards to, like I'm looking forward to, okay, this is really what I want. So, and if they can be able to like produce what I want, then I can market my products. And that was how it started. And we started doing it bit by bit. Okay, get cassava. Okay, oh yeah, go to this place. Oh yeah, produce cassava. There was a time I was going to Oyo almost every day, like from Ibadan. I practically like going to Oyo, coming back for almost like 2 weeks straight, because there was one particular cassava that we bought at that time that we need to go to Oyo and all. So at the point, I felt like okay, I don't need to go to Oyo again. There is another market that I can go, I can produce something better of, and that was how it all started. And what exactly am I doing at the moment? I'm just doing sales. And that's one thing I want everybody to take out of here, even if I'm not going to say anything that you feel like, okay, what exactly do I want to get out of my story? I realized that over time, most people have that passion. I have a lot of friends, like there are many of them There are many, even while we are in school, right? I knew that this individual, they have passion for agriculture. Like if you give them 1 acre of land, they can even do the whole laboring work and all, like themselves. They will do the clearing, they will plant, they will do this and all. But at the end of the day, what I realize is that most of them actually lack the ability of sales. Like they cannot sell to people. So and there is no advantage. There is nothing beneficial if you can produce and you don't know how to market your product or sell your product. So, which brings us back to what Mr. Alabi Israel said the other time, talking about technology. Because at this time, we should not lie to ourselves. What a lot of people are buying today is packaging, how you are presenting your product, how you are telling them your story. So a lot of people are buying Gary Marks today. So not because we actually sell, let me say, though I will agreeably say we sell one of the best Gary in town. But nevertheless, people can still like go to market and buy random Gary. But then because we are selling our story, we have a strategy of how we do our marketing. So even if I thought you are that person, you are that young individual, you have that entrepreneurship mind that okay, you want to do this and that. But at the end of the day, when your product is ready, if you don't have that ability to market your product, it's going to be a big problem. Because by the time you look at it, you look at your data, you look at your units, and it gets to you that you are not making sales, you are not making profit. That is where a lot of people run away. Because I've been doing this for like 2 3 years and the money is not coming. So if you ask me like personally, okay, what exactly am I doing differently in this aspect? I will say, oh me, I'm the tank carrier of cassava. I will talk about cassava to you like you feel like, oh, is cassava the only thing I need to eat the rest of my life? And that is how the game is being played in the industry, at least so far. So when we started, it's all so difficult to say, okay, how do we get our product to people? How are people going to have believe in what we do? So categorically, we started about last month, and I started engaging different supermarket, different stores, and all. And when I go to them, I don't even say so much thing. I just drop the sample of our product, and I will tell them categorically, this sample is not just for a display. I want you to consume this product. Maybe a manager or anybody that will need to like consume this product. And at the end of the day, they will give us a call back. Oh, like personally they like this product and they want that product to be on their shelf. We've gotten like two big supermarket already in Ibadan that we've already started supplying. So now imagine if I can do two within a month, and let's say before the end of this year, I'm able to get like 10 supermarkets in Ibadan that I can supply our products. And let's say before the end of next year, we can go to Lagos, we can go to Abuja. We never can tell. So that means the only thing I need to do at the end of the day is to make sure I get quality products. I already might have the marketing strategy, I already have the sales, get it to the people that will sell for me, and I'll make my money. So at the end of the day, just to round it up, at the end of the day, it all depends on what exactly do you want to do, how you are not going to give up, and how you are going to make sure you know how to sell your products, how to sell your product. So there are like 2 or 3 things you can do if you don't know how to sell your product. Number one, you can learn. All these things are learning. They are when you are doing things continuously every day, you start to learn and learn from people. You can do a course in marketing, sales and marketing and all. That is one. Another way you can do it, if you can sell, there are some people that can sell for you. Yes, there are people that can sell for you. So just like the way some people are producing cassava now, so they don't need to do any other stress. So you don't have the strength of producing your cassava to Gary and then start selling. Then you can sell to somebody like us. So you need to find people in your value chain that can say, okay, I will sell to these people. The whole headache of the sales and marketing is I'm leaving it to these people. So that's like another strategy you can do. Then the last strategy you can do is to find a partner. So when I started Cassava Vast, it was actually like a sole brand. But at some point, I felt like I needed someone that can give me more energy, someone that actually good in brand and communication, and has a good history in entrepreneurship. So there is a man called Redola Ibrahim in Ibadan. So I need to speak with Redola. Redola, this is my vision. This is what I need to do. And we just come together, we form partnership, and everybody is happy with their whole shares and percentage in the whole brand. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak for this short minute. I think I've been able to like say one or two things that will be pick at the end of the conversation. All right, thank you so much, Fund Foundation. Thank you so much, Farmers Angle. Thank you so much, Prince David, for always giving us the platform to shine. Let me put it that way, because most of the time you felt like, oh, you are probably like bringing us every time to do this and that. But to me, you've always make us shine.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Sam.
Actually, thank you so much. Thank you. So sorry, the network could not keep me on. Thank you so much, Olashile. Thank you for your always, for coming around always. Thank you. We do not take that for granted at all. All right. In the light of this, I would like to say that Victoria, are you there? I would have loved that she take the recap. She's one of the students from Ladoke. She's a student of Ladoke Akitola University of Technology, sharing computer resources faculties. Pardon. All right. So I would have loved that she should take the recap. Well, okay. Can you unmute and then take the recap of what Mr. Lang Chile said, a kind of a brief reflection. You've been here with us all along, and I'd like you to take a recap of what Mr. Lashley said. You might want to join it with what you hear Mr. Istres said, what Sir George, Dr. George Aremu said, what Mr. Stephen also said. You might want to combine all together. I would like to hear you as the only student I think we have here. Lost Victoria again. Sorry, the network. I guess the network is really doing a lot over there. Mr. Stephen, too. Okay. Victoria is back. Okay. Victoria, can we have you? Take a reflection on the sessions, all the sessions. Take a reflection on all the sessions, and we'll call it a day. We'll wait for the next series. Today is 11th. We have 2 more series before the Farmers Hangout building. So Victoria, we are waiting for you. Take the recap
Okay, sir.
of all the sessions, the ones. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sirs. Yeah, on what I've learned and I've grabbed in this meeting, starting from the first speaker. So I learned about the mindset of entrepreneurs, the one Mr. Adeoye spoke about. Yeah, I learned that with our labor and our uniqueness, we can become something like we can make changes with our creativity. And moving on to the next speaker, he also spoke about our engagement in the entrepreneur section. Like he talked about the advantages of entrepreneur and how to be consistent in building a very good skills, a good skills. Yeah, but the last one um I was not really there because my network was fluctuating. So I think that's what I can talk about, sir.
Sorry, I'm muted. I didn't know that I'm muted. So I said, thank you so much for Fresh Farm. Thank you so much for, I think you should prepare to present, Fresh Farm, you should prepare to present next series, that series 005, next week. You should prepare to present your business idea. Within the course of the week, by God's grace, I'll be in talk with potential investors and mentors that would be willing to take. So let me have your business case through the weekend. Let me have your business case by between now and weekend. I will send a sample to you that will inform how you can go about it. Build your business case, and then let me have it by weekend so I can share with potential investors that want to listen to you and then know where to come in. When we say investors, we come to realize now that it's not just in cash. Investors can come as mentors, and that might even go far, far beyond the so-called cash. And they can come as to put in work for you to make your processes easier for you to be able to advance, and that can make a serious difference. Whatever your these investors will be willing to stake at this time, we'll be able to know before then. So let me have your business case by both on or before weekend, and then we'll be able to pursue around the investors that are coming for it. Thank you so much, Victoria, for a fresh farm. So lastly, thank you so much. Other colleagues that join us, senior persons, Dr. George Aremu of Snow Green Farms, Mr. Stephen Kukuola of Agro Optimizers, Sir Israel Alabi. Thank you, every one of us. We will be meeting again by God's grace next week, Wednesday, from 12 noon to 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. We look forward to have you again. We'll call this one, we'll come to the end of this meeting. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.